It's time for the news.
Another UFO sighting has taken place.
But the leather's made out of cardboard.
The number you have dialed is in an alternate dimension.
Beautiful. Welcome back to Weird Week. My name's Jack DeMont. I'm your host. Here again with Daniel Kim. Hector.
Hello.
Hector.
Chacon.
Welcome back, guys. How you guys doing? How are we feeling?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Freaky Friday. Weekend?
Oh, yeah. So ready. Let's go.
I like the movie Freaky Friday, Daniel.
Yep.
So do I. Not the original, like, 1950s one, the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis one, because that's the good one.
You know they're planning a sequel for that?
A sequel or a remake?
No, sequel with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan again.
They're both coming back? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for it, man.
They're both so much older now. Oh, my God. That's crazy. Great movie. It was a great movie. I really like that one. Let's move into some of the news. In that movie, Lindsay Lohan was a little rock star girl. I know of another little rock star girl named Taylor Swift that everybody's super obsessed about. Again, I'm not the hugest Swiftie. I wouldn't even say I'm Swiftie in any sense. I don't really
tread lightly, man.
I don't listen to any.
Pick your words carefully, because these Swifties, man, I'm scared, man.
I'm not gonna say, the thing is, like, a lot of Taylor Swift fans I end up still being really good friends with. I have quite a few friends that are really, really into Taylor Swift. It's just not my thing, man. I can't do her music. It's I shouldn't get into it, but it's not for me.
I like Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah, I like Twisted. They're fun.
A song or two.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie either, but there's a song or two that, like, I won't change the radio if it comes on.
I almost will always change the radio. There's some obsessed fans that recently went to the highly controversial, super overpriced concert. They're claiming they've gotten amnesia and don't remember parts of the concert. And after listening to the conversation that was spoken about it, there's a psychologist at the end that speaks on it, and he says what he believes it is that these people have most likely just really high expectations of the memories that they would have of the concert. They really, really, really want to remember every waking moment of the concert. And at the end of the day, because they have very average memory, like most people, they have forgotten bits and pieces of it. And because of their desperation to remember everything, they call it amnesia.
I mean, if I paid that much for a concert, I would want to remember every single fucking moment too. So I can't blame them.
That's what your phone is for, to record the whole thing.
Well, right. And I mean, the girls, the girls or guys or whoever claiming they're suffering from amnesia, they said, we've got videos on our phone from several moments in the concert that we just don't remember. And people, the psychologist still just chalks it up to them just having, like, average memory and not remembering the concert like a normal person would forget things pretty quickly anyways. And I think it also goes in, like, there's a level of overexcitement that's going into it and whatnot, where you're almost going through, it's almost like a traumatic experience that you're going through. You're like going through something where your expectations are so high, and even if it is like meeting those expectations, you're just at such a high that I think it would be very easy to not to lose your memory. You're just like at a very excited place. And
what do you think do you think there's any other reason why, like, they would lose their memory? Because that's so odd. I never came out of a concert. don't know if I don't know. I remember a lot of it.
Yeah, same here. Like I remember most of it, like especially key moments and stuff. I wouldn't say I remember every detail, but maybe that's what they're complaining about here.
Well, and that's what I would think it is, because I would imagine it's a lot of people that are remembering different parts of the concert, and then they're starting to share those different parts of the concert with their friends, and they're like, oh, and then remember this, and then somebody's like, no, I don't remember that. And I think it's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And again, I think it's just like overexcitement and things that are happening, because I know I've suffered from similar things, and it's just and I believe that's what I suffered from, was like overexcitement to a point that it was like I'm not retaining what's happening. I'm just overjoyed and in awe. But like there's a level of just like I'm kind of like not consciously here. I'm just really, really, at another level of excitement.
Yeah.
But I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know.
But I think Swifties just got too excited. The blood didn't flow properly. Something happened.
She's not the only one that gets her fans real excited. Gets maybe her fans a little too excited. Beyonce out here getting hundreds of thousands, or just at least tens of thousands of fans flooding into Sweden and causing a huge inflation. A huge wave of inflation. The start of a world tour in Sweden seems to have colored May inflation. How much is uncertain. Looks like they're accounting her directly to at least 0.2 to 0.3 percentage points of the added inflation to hotels and restaurants in the local area.
Well, I think they're just pricing according to demand. I think just because like hotels are going to probably charge a little bit more because they know people are going to come in for like the Beyonce concert. Food vendors might be like, oh, Beyonce's in town. There's going to be a lot of people. So let's jack up the prices a little bit. I think it happens everywhere, like where there's a big event.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense that maybe, Sweden isn't like the heaviest of tourist locations. Like maybe they have the kinds of resources, but then aren't expecting a Beyonce concert of this magnitude to kind of bring in that many people. So you have to kind of start to charge higher prices and whatnot, maybe to also just maintain order and like maybe to stop some people from trying to buy because it's just too many people. Kind of a thing I'm sure also happened.
Yeah,
you can't.
I think all the time in like World Cup or Olympics events. Like if they go to a country, like things start jacking up around like the events and stuff because they know people from all around the world and they're trying to just be like, oh, let's maximize our profits.
Right. I don't think they're ready for. I don't think anybody's ever ready for Beyonce. Beyonce is Beyonce.
Beyonce, the queen.
See, I can get more on board with the whole Beyonce craze.
I was gonna ask Swifties or the Beehive.
The Beehive.
Oh, they're called the Beehives?
Yeah, it's a Beehive. Well, I mean, it's like just like the whole fan base as a whole is called the Beehive.
Yeah, if she's like the queen bee, that makes sense.
I'm gonna blow both of them out of the water. I'm a believer. Beaver.
Oh, the Believers?
I don't know that there are really much more Believers left. Like the guy hasn't come out with his own album in a long time. He's mostly just been featured on stuff for
well, I mean, because he's like really sick, right? Isn't he like retiring or something? I really don't know.
I mean, he's just been going through stuff for a long time. He's been mostly going, I think, through emotional stuff. If he is physically sick, I wouldn't be surprised to hear it. But he's just kind of like been going through stuff for a long time and kind of gave up on. He had retired, quote unquote, or at least like stepped away from music a few years ago. Came back for a few features on people's songs and whatnot. He did Peaches and stuff like that, and then now he. I wouldn't be surprised to hear if he's sick or something and quitting again. But the guy just, I just don't think he has the same kind of fan base as like somebody that's still heavily touring and performing and stuff
For
like
sure.
the Beyoncés and Taylor Swifts.
Yeah, but he's been a celebrity since he was really young, wasn't he? Like
Yeah, like 10 years
probably.
old. Usher found him.
Yeah,
And played
young.
some guitar for Usher.
Yeah. So sometimes like that system, I don't know, like it can do something to you, like mentally.
Yeah. The years where he did like Baby, and then the next few years after that, they were really hard years for him, because he got a lot of ridicule and mockery from like fellow boys his age. But then a lot of love and whatnot from girls his age.
So it all balanced out.
Well, I think the jealousy and hatred really got to him. I think, and then also the obsession with him and whatnot. It was a really weird like thing to for anybody. It's a weird thing to struggle with, where you have like so many people who love you and so many people who hate you, and like especially at that age, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, especially as a kid.
Yeah.
Must have been tough.
Everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to be cool with their friends and stuff. Even if you have girls like, oogling you and whatnot. The kid was like 13 or something. He wants to play some video games with the homies probably. And like, probably.
Why'd you say it like that? Friends. He wants to fuck. I was like, oh, me too.
Well, no, I was going to say because he wants to probably play some fucking Fortnite or something. But I don't think Fortnite was really popular back then. So I stopped myself.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
Yeah, maybe some Mario Kart, Minecraft. Keep supporting the guy. He's not a bad guy as far as I can tell in any sense. I think he just struggled with the growing up celebrity thing, and most people would.
Because none of us knows what it's like to live that life. So I mean, we can't really judge him unless we like know what that's like to be consistently under like a microscope for every little wrong you do. It's like all over every tabloid. It's just like that must take like such a stressful toll on your mental health.
Yeah, like I was very dramatic and stuff growing up, and in my teen years especially, there was a lot of just ridiculous stuff going on. And I think in hindsight, if I had cameras on me 24/7, it would make everything way harder, and I'd be even more emotionally unstable than I was. So you just got to kind of understand where they're coming from to an extent.
Yeah, from like who you date to what, like just everything, and just I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I know he gets a lot of hate for some things he did, but like sometimes I think like God, but we don't know what that's like. How much like stress that is. I don't even like when people are like have me on Find My Friends on my iPhone. So it's just like to be constantly taking pictures of when you're like just going out shopping or eating. It's just I don't know. That just seems like a crazy stressful environment.
Yeah. The life of a celebrity.
He's uber rich, so I'm sure he's fine.
Well, and
okay, it all balances out. Being loved by girls and uber rich. Okay, fine. Stop whining, Justin.
Yeah, he's wiping his tears with $100 bills. Like, oh, woe is me.
While it's getting a nice blowjob from a fan. I get it. Okay.
No, he's married. He's got a good relationship.
Yeah, good for him though. Good for him.
He's definitely the saner of the child celebrities, as far as
I think he understood the kind of crazy shit that was going on in his brain and his life and whatnot, and that's why he took a break from it all and whatnot. Still at a fairly young age, because it just. I think that relationship, his wife, helped him out a lot. I think she put a lot of things in perspective for him, and I think she helped him really level out in terms of his mental craziness that was going on. But I think she was also the one that was like, you need to take a break for your mental health and stuff like that. And I think he's mostly been doing a lot of that kind of stuff. He's I know for a fact he's got to be a huge stoner and stuff like that. He's got to be just chilling in his mansion in Canada, and I'm sure he likes it that way. He bought a mansion out in Canada for a reason. He didn't buy a mansion in LA. He didn't want to hang out with the celebrities. He wanted to hang out with his Canucks up in Canada. Speaking of, I don't know how to transition this one. Study finds disturbing amount of fecal contamination in the United States beaches. If we were still like talking about Taylor Swift or something, I would have said like, speaking of poo poo, speaking of shit, here's
Oh my
some shit in our
goodness
water.
gracious. Dude, how many people are going to piss off in this podcast?
Again, it's a goal. Every episode, we gotta like one,
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Like speaking of shitty transitions, go on.
Putting it easy.
Hey
That's a
man,
Taylor Swift song.
just as many people love Taylor Swift, I would assume there's just as many that dislike Taylor Swift. I think there's, I don't think we're screwed here. We still have half of the people out there. Anyways, the study finds that there's a disturbing amount of fecal contamination in United States beaches, and it looks like it's mostly due to sewage spilling out of sewage plants, septics, and cesspools that, when it rains, drudge their ways into the local waterways. So we got poo-poo in our beaches.
Just in time for summer.
I mean, didn't we always know that? I mean,
yeah, it's like every year they close off like Venice Beach or something. He's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of caca here.
Yeah.
So it's
the ocean's self-filtering and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure all the sea animals poo in the water too. So it's just like double it down.
They've what it's really come down to though is the tests, the levels that they've tested of feces in the water.
Just don't test it, and then we're good.
Yeah, just don't.
Oh, we don't know. Can't hurt us.
Turn a blind eye, and you'll never know.
Yeah, no, I've always been grossed out because I've always thought of that, like caca, and even when it's like a whole bunch of people, like how many people are just like taking a piss in there, and then you're just like swimming there, and then I always thought about all the fishes and animals, and like they're always shitting and peeing there.
Yeah, I'm just terrified of the ocean. There's too many things for me to list, and I think actually, poo-poo in the water is probably the least of my fears at this point. The ocean is a huge, mysterious, scary place.
For sure.
I'm so scared of the ocean. I've always lived really close to the ocean, which is funny. And I've never really liked to go to the beach or go into the water too much. I used to when I was really, really little, and it was like just an experience that I hadn't had before. But after you experience it a few times, I got pummeled by some waves and whatnot. And so that's where it really started, was just like that I didn't feel like I was a really strong swimmer. But over time, you learn more and more about just like the crazy shit that goes on in the ocean. And now I'm just scared of the ocean in a more generalized sense.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah. But nobody likes at least knowing that they're knowingly swimming around in feces water. It can't be that bad, right? It's like you guys are saying. People poo and pee in the water all the time. Fish and animals pee in the water all the time.
Just think of like swimming in some water, accidentally getting in your mouth and shit. Ugh. I mean, and shit, like literally.
Yeah, that's happened a lot of times to me when I had to learn the boogie board. Like the amount of feces water I swallowed. I think I've grown immune to it.
Yeah, see, you turned out just fine.
Exactly.
Stupid. They do say it's a health risk. Exposure to fecal pollution presents a variety of health risks. The most common symptoms are rashes, ear, nose, and throat infections, gastrointestinal. It's that's another thing. Yeah. I mean, obviously nobody wants to get sick off of hanging out at the beach.
That's how you get pink eye.
That's how you get COVID.
Yeah.
That's how Florida got COVID.
That's how you get pink COVID.
Pink COVID.
It's a new strand.
We have a new strand. This isn't Omega. This is a cross between pink eye and COVID. Pink COVID. That'd be awful. It's just COVID in your eyes.
Yeah, I'm sure that exists.
That'd be
It's got to.
Yeah, COVID for the eyes.
Yep.
While we're on the topic of waterways in the ocean being terrifying, there is a deep sea craft carrying 5 people to the Titanic wreckage that's reportedly gone missing, and currently a search is under the way by the United States Coast Guard. This seems to be some sort of like a privatized craft, similar to the private vessels that fly up to space and just kind of like enter the Earth's atmosphere and then come back down. This is a craft where it's usually got scientists and, like microbiologists or marine biologists and whatnot on the ship. But then there's always at least like 1 or 2, they call them specialists or something like that. But really the specialists are just wealthy people that want to visit the Titanic and pay a bunch of money to go on board. Well, it looks as though the one that's gone missing just recently, I think it went missing Sunday night. Yes. So the Sunday morning it took off, and by Sunday night it was reported missing. Basically, what I was getting to is that this one differs a little different from some of the other ones because it doesn't have just one of those specialists that are, like a privatized non-scientist. These guys aren't the brightest if they're just paying to go onto the craft. But there was 4 of them. There's 5 people on the boat. 5 people in the submarine thing. 4 of them are just literally paying to be there that don't really like know that much about what's going on, and then 1 of them is an expert. And I guess what happened is the vessel was supposed to go to the Titanic wreckage, but because there's like no GPS on it, when you get that far down, the GPS signal wouldn't work anymore. They strictly use like text communications with a boat that's above the surface, and the people on the boat navigate them and tell them through text how to get to the Titanic wreckage. Well, communication with them was lost after they were unable to find the Titanic wreckage, the people in the submerged craft. So they were unable to find it. They start to veer off course a little bit, and then all of a sudden communication's lost. And now that's where we're at with trying to rescue these people.
That is insane. They paid
Pretty
like $100,000 to $150,000 a piece to go down there. You couldn't pay me to go there.
No.
Under the sea, under that. Like, no, if I want to see Titanic, I'll go to the Science Center. They had like a fucking thing there a couple years ago. Like, yeah, I'll just go there. I'll pay $20. Yeah.
I'll watch Leonardo DiCaprio do his thing on the boat in the movie. And
that's what I do.
That'll suffice.
Watch Titanic.
Yeah, I'll watch Titanic.
I wouldn't do that either. It's 3 hours.
It's 3 hours.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go that far.
It's 3 hours of Jack spinning on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
But that is nuts. I mean, obviously we're joking around, but hopefully they're found safe and sound. But the story it's just nuts. I mean, like you were saying earlier, like I'm scared of the ocean too. I mean, it's like how much the ocean has like been like hasn't been explored and stuff,
Yeah.
And the fact that there's like no GPS down there, you have to communicate via text. Like that's where you lose me. It's like, oh, what? Okay.
Yeah.
No,
that's your guys' navigation system when you're on the seafloor. Like, oh, that sounds like a really viable.
And just one expert on board too. It's like, come on. So it's like, what if something happens to the guy? What if he just like, passes out or something? Because you never know. Like when disaster strikes, like heart attack or just like someone faints or whatever, you need a backup.
Right.
So
It must have been one of those things, because if 4 of them were willing to pay that much money, it must have just been like, well, we could put 4 of them on one. They're all willing to pay that kind of money. And as long as homeboy over here is really good at his job, we'll be fine. And, you know, shit just hit the fan.
I mean, maybe they really wanted to go to the Titanic. They paying good money for it. I mean, people are willing to pay that outrageous price for that Star Wars attraction in Disney World. So if you're a big fan and have the money for it,
That's like
more power to you.
$5,000 versus $150,000.
I mean, even though, I mean, I can never like that. Even like I could like, I don't know. Like, it's just like people pay money for stuff.
Well, yeah. And this is like obviously the kind of thing where you have to understand the hazards of what you're trying to do when you're going down there. You like, I'm sure they explained to the people before they went down there that it was not going to have a GPS and that there's always a chance for the mission to fail. Because like that's just only makes sense that they would have those kinds of safety protocols and just warnings and things like that. But the Coast Guard's doing their best to try to find them. The Coast Guard explains that it's going to be pretty difficult because of the depth they're at.
And
just
also like the vastness of the ocean itself. I mean, like how did you ever like wonder, like, I guess you start from like the area they were in, but like with the current and everything, it's like, how do you even like where do you even start? Like you just look at the ocean, it's like endless, and you're just like, okay, guys, let's start looking. It's just, I don't know, like that's such a it's, I mean, like I said, like prayers are for these people, and hopefully they do make it out. But I don't know, like for like just looking at it objectively, when you look at like search and rescue missions, like when you're talking about the ocean, it's just like I don't know. I wonder if they have like any special technique that they start off with, because I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It just, to me, they just can't be like, oh, let's just start search this area. I guess, I don't know. Like they must have like a certain plan that they have when these things happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they say that, you know, just like the privatized company that did the initial mission, they don't have GPS that far down.
Yeah.
The Coast Guard doesn't have far superior equipment in that sense. So it's like you said, it's going to be difficult. They're already aware of that. I would assume their best bet is to probably start somewhere around the Titanic and start pushing outwards from there to try to see where they could find them. The thing is that, you know, they never did find the Titanic, so it might be a pretty futile effort to start there. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
But this might be a little off topic, but in the movie Titanic, you know that band that plays while everybody's like, the ship is going down? Dude, if you were a band member, would you just try to jump on the raft or play to calm everybody down? I think I'd jump on the raft. Just a random thought I had.
Well, yeah, I don't really know. You know, I wouldn't know how to answer that question being put in the situation. I feel like obviously I would also want to, and maybe this was strictly for movie film purposes, you know, but who knows? You know, there are some people who may have just seen that they were going down and didn't really have much hope for survival anyways, and so and you know, all the women and children are the first ones getting put on the life rafts and whatnot. If these are all like full grown adult men and whatnot, then maybe, you know, they look at each other and they say, it's been pleasure playing with you boys for the past few years, and here we go. And then they start, you know, playing Beethoven's Fifth or whatever.
I think I'd be like that one guy that pretends that like he has a daughter. He just grabs like some random girl.
That's what I do. That's the guy I related the most out of that movie. I was like, I have a child. Oh,
Desperation.
Just like throw her away once you're inside. Like, all right, I don't need you anymore.
Oh, man.
Sir, you're forgetting your child. Who? What? Oh, yes. Girl. What's your name again?
Terrible.
Crazy times, guys. I'm terrified of the ocean. I'm almost more terrified of the ocean than I am space because, like, the ocean is in our backyard. It's on our home planet. It's like if there's scary mysteries going on beneath the surface of the water that we don't understand. That's terrifying because it's literally in our backyard. People, it's been a good one. Thanks for joining us this week. It was fun having Hector with us, and we're gonna keep on just testing out the waters with that and see how that continues to go. But we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow, send us all your money because we love money, and continue to have a weird week. Have a good weird weekend. Peace.
We love the Swifties, by the way.
Swifties all day.
I'm gonna step away. Walking away.
You said you want the money.